Alex Karp just made a pretty bold claim. This is a juicy one.
Is there anyone you consider a competitor?
Our competition is actually political. The woke left and the woke right wake up every day figuring out how they can hurt Palantir. And if they get into power, they'll hurt Palantir. How could you build a society with unfettered migration in Europe and not have Palantir? I don't know how you're going to do that, but they think they can do that. If they win, if the communists in France win, they will pull us out. If the Madani win of the Democratic Party takes over, I viewed that as my party, but if that's the party, I'm not in it. Or if the right woke wing, which is like everything is a conspiracy, any use of technology is actually going to only be used to eviscerate and to attack us as like our data protection part of Palantir is built into the software. It is literally the hardest software to abuse in the world, but they don't seem to want to do it. But if you don't want meritocracy, either left or right, you don't like the consequence of it, you hate Palantir. And that is actually our competition. And by the way, not that they believe it, the thing that is protecting those people, the people that hate us the most, is actually our product. Because it is the hardest product to misuse, to take away the rights of human beings that's ever been built. And don't believe me, just go look at it, spend 10 minutes looking at it, find a technical person and look at our architecture or look at it yourself. And that's actually our competition. And in a weird way, we embrace the competition because they say these crazy things about us. And then the smart people go look at it.
My head's spinning a little. How did Mondawi get in there?
I would say some of this is downstream from, if you explain to the world that labor is going to be valueless, people are going to elect the most ridiculous people ever. We have to build systems like Palantir, and we have to explain to people, but also let them see the results, the fruit of our labor, that their labor, meaning people with working class skills, people with normal jobs, that their labor is going to become more important and more valuable over time with products like ours, which happens to be true. If you run around saying that, the economy is going to completely shift to value creation only owned by 10,000 people. People on the left and the right are going to go nuts, and they're going to vote for people who are like, basically, yeah, nothing I've said has ever worked in history. It has never worked in history. You cannot find a time in history where any of that stuff has ever worked, ever. They still will gravitate toward it because they're afraid of what could work, which is like an AI-driven AGI environment where no one has a job. And the only people who make money are like people sitting out here. And so that's part of the problem. Now, also, honestly, I think universities and elite institutions have played a really corrosive role here. People are teaching pagan religion views. Again, pagan religion as it's a new religion with sacrifices. Who's the sacrifice? Me. I'm the sacrifice. And that, again, it's also like, it's a form of thought that has never worked.
You don't seem constrained. To me, you're doing great.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah,
it's like Palantir, we're not victims at Palantir.
Yeah.
We're not playing the victimhood thing. I don't think I'm a victim. I don't actually believe these things should be framed as victims. And yes, we're doing very well. And we might even do better.
You have this bonkers earnings call in February. Huge growth. And
it's like people who are not financial, which is most people, and honestly, I wouldn't be paying attention to this if I wasn't running Palantir. Those numbers are a little bit like flying saucer took off numbers. So, people are financial, many of whom doubted us are like, wait a minute, the plate dropped. Because what non-financial people might not appreciate is we're not just growing, we're growing with high margins, and that's at our scale, basically, in my view, never been done before, not in a similarly situated business.
You said it was anomalous, like some sort of historic moment. That the company is anomalous.
In a weird way, we undervalue these, or I undervalue the whole numeric side of our business because it's downstream of value creation. So if you are doing anything like what we're doing, so call it 68% growth in the U.S., and again, we're doing it, our way. Salesforce is anemic. We're not running around really trying to sell our wares. We have a conference here. People fight to get in, which is pretty cool. We have the best clients in the world, especially in America. Clearly, we've tapped into something. I'll tell you what we've tapped into. There's essentially a simple thing. LLMs and software-empowered LLMs create the expectation of Pareto optimality between partner and vendor. You are going to get paid in the future a percentage of the value you create. And the value you create is going to be, it's at some point objectively measured, and it's going to flow into your financials and vice versa.
Palantir built privacy protection directly into its architecture because they knew their software would be powerful enough to abuse if designed incorrectly. So for that reason, Palantir's software comes with built-in audit logs that monitor and record all user activity and access controls that make it possible to limit who has access to which aspects of the data, with those safeguards impossible to override. Palantir equips products with off-the-shelf tools to enable data stewards to effectively scan for sensitive data at key points in the data lifecycle, with customizable controls that allow organizations to define what sensitive data means for them. When Alex Karp challenges critics to spend 10 minutes looking at Palantir's architecture, he's making a very specific technical claim. Most data analytics platforms are built first for functionality, then security gets added later. Palantir did the opposite. They started with the assumption that their software would be used by intelligence agencies and law enforcement, so abuse prevention had to be foundational. And that's why built-in systems such as audit logs are crucial. Every action gets recorded, every query, every data access, every analysis. If someone misuses the system to spy on people inappropriately, there's a permanent record of exactly what they did. That creates accountability in a way that manual systems never could. Traditional methods of connecting data left no trail, whereas Palantir forces transparency. Access controls work the same way. The software doesn't just connect all data for everyone. It enforces strict permissions. Users only see what they're authorized to see based on their role and the purpose of their work. The system enforces data minimization automatically. You can't just browse through everything hoping to find something interesting. You need a legitimate reason tied to a specific investigation or business need. This matters because Alex is right that most critics assume the worst without understanding how Palantir's technology actually works. They imagine Palantir as this all-seeing surveillance tool with no restrictions. The reality is nearly the opposite. It's actually one of the most locked down enterprise platforms ever built. The irony is that governments could surveil people more easily without Palantir because there would be no audit trail and no technical controls stopping abuse. But Alex's point goes deeper than just privacy protections. Palantir's economics prove that AI creates value for customers in a measurable way. Energy giant GP reported saving $1 billion through optimized operations. Palantir ties pricing directly to delivered value, making the company less exposed to cyclical headwinds and better positioned to capture demand by creating a return on investment driven strategy. Alex's argument about Pareto optimality is describing how Palantir's business model actually works. The software creates measurable value for customers that exceeds what they pay. That's not typical in enterprise software, where companies often struggle to prove return on investment. Companies don't stick around at 98% retention rates unless they're getting real value. And they especially don't increase spending by 30 to 40% year over year unless the software is solving actual problems. Companies don't just buy Palantir because it's some trendy stock. They're buying it because their operations improve and they can quantify the savings. And the BP example clearly shows this. Saving $1 billion through optimized oil and gas operations is an example of Palantir's potential. BP's costs went down by a measurable amount because Palantir's software helped them make better decisions about how to run their business. Then it meant the software paid for itself many times over, so both sides win. And this is why Palantir's growth numbers look so strange to financial analysts. When you create that much value for customers, they keep expanding their use of the platform because they want to find new problems they can solve with it. This brings in more teams across the business, and the growth becomes self-sustaining because the product actually works. Most enterprise software companies have to fight for every dollar of expansion, whereas Palantir's customers are actively looking for ways to use the platform more because they've already proven it delivers results. One of our clients started with 0 audience. Now they're doing $100,000 months thanks to YouTube. And they're not alone. We've helped 3 businesses hit that level just by growing them a YouTube channel. Want to see how this could work for your business? Book a call with me below.